welcome back to my YouTube channel, #moviebae. I am moviebae, and in this video I'm going to be doing a recap review over Bad Boys Texas episode 9, as well as sharing just some thoughts, not a full recap, but just some thoughts about Baddies East Part 1 auditions. But before we get too into it though, I would like for y'all to drop down and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Because here on moviebae, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. And if that is the type of content that you like, you might as well stick around and hit that subscribe button. And if you find yourself enjoying my commentary along the way, don't be afraid to give me a thumbs up and or drop a comment down below to share your thoughts and opinions on my commentary or the episodes themselves. Now, let's go ahead and get into Bad Boys episode 9 because it was a snoozy. Episode 9 begins where the last one left off, between the altercation between Rail and Carry-On. And Rail jumped over, and apparently, according to Carry-On, he ain't get hit. But Rail was snatching all of his stuff, pulling his hair, taking his glasses. He had like a whip around his neck. So Rail did something, okay? So we get the aftermath of that, and we hear Rail telling Carry-On, "Fix your hair, look a mess." "Fix your hair, you look a fool." Y'all, Carry-On really is that gay uncle that I've always wanted. Like, I just can't, y'all. He's a whole auntie out here in these streets. All right, so then just something I wanted to note on the bus as well was this interaction between Chef D and Mo. So Chef D put his drink down. Ooh, where am I from? Chef D put his drink down. Really done jumped up in me, y'all. Put his drink down, and Mo picks it up and gives it to him. And then Chef D's looking all at the bottom like, you ain't put no drugs in here, right? You ain't drugged me, right? I've been drugged before. And I was like, okay. And we still just putting our drinks down all loosey-goosey, but all right. But the point I wanted to mention was, Mo stated, I would never do that. That's weird. I wouldn't do that. Do you want me to taste it for you first? I don't know what type of man that would offer to taste another man's drink, putting your lips on his cup, tasting the previous backwash he possibly had, and then giving your backwash into his cup just to ensure that the drink was good. Just pour another damn drink. Just pour another drink. I just wanted to put that in there because I was like, ugh. All right, so then they finally get to the studio, and when I tell you this is the only time I'll probably ever agree with Chef D, but his facial expressions was legit my facial expressions. Like, what is this? He said, where the booth at? The booth right there with all the condensation on it. The microphone has a cord. Like, what is going on with the studio quality at this point? So while everybody is inside critiquing the studio, Carry-On is still outside trying to pout and make a scene. Last episode and this episode, it was literally giving Carry-On just wants to make a scene and no one's paying attention to me. That's what I was getting the whole time. So he's outside pouting. I'm not mad though. And Mo said exactly what I'm thinking. So why are we outside then? Like, what's the hold up then? If you ain't mad, he ain't mad, get your ass in here. You just literally want some camera time because you ain't had none all season. So Carry-On goes back in the studio. He and Rail make up, and then Chef D comes out of nowhere and asks for a hug. I was just like, this man's so thirsty. Like, every time it's an opportunity to be on the camera or say something, Chef D's gonna do it. So during the studio, everybody's almost everybody is vibing. They're grabbing the mic, they're freestyling, testing out beats. But Prince, y'all, Prince is not feeling it. The boys, they came up with a hook for a possible song. They're thinking theme song. Prince is thinking Grammys. Okay, so the hook was, what is it? Everything bigger, bigger, bigger in Texas. Don't you see us bad boys flexing? I'm sorry if that was loud. But the hook was okay. But it definitely was giving, I made this in my basement. Well, okay, y'all. So when I was like in 7th grade, I wanted to be a rapper. Like, I still have my book full of raps. And it sounded like something that I would have made when I was 13 years old. It really did. So I understand why Prince was kind of like, I'm not feeling it. Everybody else crunk. So I'm going to just go pout in the corner. So the next day, we get the scene where Relly is packing up because he has decided to leave the show due to the fact that his boyfriend's sister tried to unalive herself and is now brain dead as a result. In this scene, he was telling Carry-On, like, remember when I was telling you, you don't know what I'm going through, you don't know what I'm going through? Well, this is what I'm going through. And the whole time, like, if y'all think back, really had been saying that, like, the past 2 episodes and his confessionals or just, like, little tidbits around the house. But I was just thinking he really wants somebody to ask him what's wrong. And I still feel like that. But, you know, now we find out what was actually eating him up and why he took his anger out on Carry-On. Carry-On is in complete understanding because he himself tried to commit the same acts when he was younger, and he understands how it affects the people around, you know, that individual. So everybody's in support of really leaving, and he does so. Now, when it comes to mental health, especially in the Black community, I just wanted to do a little quick PSA. No one is above getting help. If you are struggling with your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, please confide in a loved one, a professional, or write down your thoughts. I feel like writing is very therapeutic, especially for me, because that is a way that I can get out how I'm feeling, whether that's in a song or I make a story or I'm just literally writing diary entries. So mental health is serious. Please take it as such. And especially y'all, check on your loved ones and check on your strong friends. Now, this next section, I'm not even going to try to explain it because some things are just unexplainable. Raz B and Orlando just had breakfast, and Raz B is now tweaking and spazzing out on Orlando. I really can't explain what's the rhyme or reason, because when it comes down to fiend behavior, you can't explain fiend behavior. It has no explanation. It has no reason to it. All we know is we do see Raz B following Orlando around, stating things like, post up then, I'll beat your, nah, I ain't gonna touch him, that's my little brother for real. Like, he was really like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He didn't know if he wanted to be happy and talk things out or if he wanted to fight Orlando. So Orlando, in his defense, is just trying to avoid him. He's trying to avoid. He tried to talk at first. He's trying to avoid him. So Jonathan is watching from a distance, and he sees what's going on. So he decides to check Raz B. And that's when we get the infamous line from the trailer. Why are you yelling at him? Yelling? Yeah, yelling. So we get that scene. And then, I'm not going to lie, y'all. Raz B did hush up. But he did look at Jonathan like, can I take this nigga? Okay, I can't take this nigga. Man, I don't got no beef with you, Jonathan. So I appreciate that he had a thought process behind it a little bit. Cause you didn't just like bitch up in the corner. Okay. Now, it's so confusing because Orlando's still, I want to still holler at you though. And it's like, no, please separate. Everybody calm down, because what is even going on right now? So when everybody separates and calm down, we find out that when Orlando left the studio, he was still feeling his creative juices and they were still flowing. So he decided to write down verses for people yesterday, and he presented it to the guys. Everybody's feeling it, and Prince is now excited to go back in the studio. So that is what they're going to do later on today. Now, when it's time to go to the studio, Raz B is walking with Prince to the buzz and stating things like, I beat anybody else. So Prince is like ignoring him, and then he starts to take offense like, well, who else are you trying to beat? Because why you keep saying this? So Prince has his little thing with Raz B, and he just goes on the buzz and he just wishes everybody would be themselves. Why is everybody trying so hard to make a TV moment? So then Raz B gets on the bus and he's still pulling the same antics. I'll be anybody on this bus. And I think Jonathan stood up, but he did like calm back down, because I feel like Jonathan was like, I know he ain't talking about me, especially because they just got into it earlier. You know what I'm saying? So Adonis pipes up and he was like, man, Raz, I murk you. So Raz B takes offense to this. Oh, you gonna me? You gonna me? Raz B from B2K? You wanna unalive me? That's a threat. He threatened me. Boy, you've been threatening everybody this whole time. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure you said that word too. I'm pretty sure you did. So Raz B is escorted off the bus so he could calm down. And Adonis tries to explain his confessional. Well, where I'm from, that's what we say when we trying to fight. Oh, really? Merkin is merkin, period. Ain't no changing it behind it. Ain't no different connotation behind it, bro. Off of the bus, Big Chris is trying to calm Raz B down, and he's also trying to confiscate some property of the house, as Big Chris said, from Raz B. And Raz B is trying to act like he don't know what Big Chris talking about. So the property from the house, we all know, is a little stabby, a little shankadank, okay? And Raz B took that from the house and currently has it on him, and Big Chris cannot get it back from him. Note that. So now all the guys are back at the studio, and for whatever reason, the cameras are not rolling. However, somebody catches what happens next on cell phone video footage. Now, Raz B walks into the studio still on 10, talking about he'll be anybody's ass. And this is when Jonathan, oh my God, bro, Jonathan was so cool when he did this. He didn't post up or nothing, y'all. He didn't take a stance. He didn't shuffle his feet. He literally just pop, real quick, Raz B right in the face. I was like, oh my God. If you blinked, you would have missed it. Matter of fact, somebody in their confessional said, I didn't see it happen, but we all know that it happened. So after that, it's a commotion. We see Raz B is leaking, and we hear Prince stating, he's got a knife, he's got a knife, he's got a knife, he's got a knife. Prince was losing his mind. But for real, like, that's some serious stuff. And I feel like this is why Zeus is so unprofessional. If y'all couldn't get that away from that man, then that man should have been on the next flight back home. He should have been on the next flight back home. In next episode, we see that Raz B is going to go to the club with them. And this is the moment I was talking about when I tell y'all my old classmate was at the club and she saw Raz B get punched in the face. This is what's going to happen next episode. And now I know why. He's going to come back to the show and everybody's mad uncomfortable because of what he did. So, Natalie, Lumel, this is very unprofessional, and this is why y'all gonna have a lot of lawsuits against y'all in the future. Because if anybody brings a weapon on the show threatening cast members, that person needs to leave. It's no rhyme or justification behind it. Now, that was the end of episode 9 of Bad Boys Texas. I'm now going to get into Baddies East auditions. Like I stated, I'm not going to do a full recap of part 1, but I do have a couple of points that I just have to talk about because this was a miss. Now, I feel like the auditions had potential. I really do. It started off fun and calm, and Scotty had brought like little card games with questions on them so they could see, you know, the girls' personalities, given their answer choices. They had shots for the girls, but this was short-lived. Let's talk about the low quality of the baddies that's auditioning first and foremost. Look at them, y'all. I can literally pick out maybe one girl from here that meets the bare minimum requirements. MovieBae, what are the bare minimum requirements? Well, in my personal opinion, I feel like the bare minimum requirements to be a baddie is a person that takes care of themselves. You love yourself, and it shows because you take pride in how you present yourself. That's bare minimum requirements. And you don't have to have a BBL body. You know what I'm saying? But you at least got to have a pretty face. Like, let's not be delusional, y'all. I feel like the type of girls that were auditioning could have auditioned for, what's they call it? South Central baddies, but not Zeus baddies. The type of aesthetic that Zeus baddies give off is not what was coming through the auditions. It just wasn't. Like, Zeus baddies are girls that have mental health issues, possible drug addictions, and criminal records, but they don't look like they have mental health issues, drug addictions, and criminal records. You know, that's the difference. Well, this group right here, that's an okay bunch right there. The screenshot that I took. Anyways, my next point is the girls were only stating their names and occupations. My name is Lil T-Lo, and I do hair, I do nails, I do makeup, and I strip at night, and I bartend in the daytime, and I work at Chili's, and I got a 9 to 5 too. Like, I get money, I get to the back, I flip it, dip it, flip it all over. And where my ticket at? Huh? You think you deserve a ticket because you do hair, nails, and makeup? Like, Kat had to make the announcement, like, we all know that y'all get money, like, but we want to know y'all personality. And what does the next girl do? Comes up and states her name and occupation. I was like, are they deaf, dumb, or freaking stupid? So because the girls weren't really giving the panel anything to judge off of, they literally started nitpicking, okay? So let's talk about some of the qualifications that they had. One girl came up and stated that she went to college, graduated, and they said next. And then she was like, and I'm a stripper. Pulled her dress up and started dancing. Okay, here y'all ticket. Huh? So you don't want me when I'm educated, but you want me when I'm ratchet? That's not a baddie. Baddie requirement number 2. You gotta be smart. You can't be no dumb broad. What? That is not baddie. So because all the girls kept giving were the names and occupations, like I stated, they had to just go off of what was there. If you couldn't twerk, you didn't get a ticket. Then they had the shoe rule. Now the shoe rule, I 100% agree with. This girl came up with her shoes in her hand. Next. That's not baddie. That's not baddie. I've been standing in line for 15 hours. Don't care. And you've had plenty of time to put your shoes back on before you came up here. I learned in high school you never take your shoes off, bro. My foot will fall off before I take my heels off. Are you dumb? Then this probably come with age, but you already know to have your flats in your purse. The little foldable flats that come out and you just slip them on. If you're going to take your shoes off, put your flats on. Then when it's time to do what you need to do, take your flats off, put your heels back on. Maybe that comes with age, y'all, but you don't take your heels off. Then Biggie made a good point about this girl who was weeble and wobbling. If you can't walk in heels, you can't be a baddie. We in heels all day. And we not about to hold you up because you can't keep your composure, sis. Next. I 100% agree with those rules. Those are baddie requirements number 3. The heel rule, bitch. What are you talking about? Then Biggie was just at this point, and she stated, if you could speak Spanish, you're gonna get my ticket. I don't fault her for doing the diversity hires. I don't. Diversity matters. Speaking of Biggie, let's get into Biggie versus Rolly. Biggie gives out a ticket to a girl who is a DV advocate, and I personally is in agreement with this because we need that type of person with that storyline who advocates for that, especially for the demographic of the show. But I'll get into that a little bit later when we do our full recap with Grant LaShawn. But however, it wasn't Biggie's turn to give out a wristband. And in my personal opinion, I would have been like, okay, well then somebody else take my next turn. Like, it's not a big deal. But Rolly decides to get up and get all in Biggie's face and then tell her to sit down and shut up. Who are you talking to? I don't know who gave Rolly an EP credit. Oh, right. My bad. She doesn't have one. I don't know why Rolly is acting like she running because she doesn't. She kept saying, remove her. Get her to leave. Tell her to leave. And they didn't. And Biggie was still on the panel because why, Rolly? You don't roll. You don't run anything but that mouth. Then it got to the point to where the girls were talking and they couldn't hear other girls. So it took them an hour to get them to settle. I wouldn't have even waited that long. Next group. I told y'all to shut up. Y'all still talking. Next group. But it gets to the point where Rolly decides to leave. And I was like, thank God. But then honestly, it just got even worse. It was just more unorganized after she left. The final point I want to talk about are the girls that refused to leave when asked to leave. This foot face, hammerhead, shark teeth built ass girl had a whole attitude because she started stumbling over her words and they told her next. Imagine somebody saying next because they not feeling me and you catching a whole attitude, knocking stuff off the table. It's not giving baddie. A real baddie probably would have been like, why? But after they state their reasons, leave and go to the next bag. Like, why are you really throwing an attitude? We should have known she was going to be troubled by that hair. And then the last girl, when the episode ends, she about to fight Biggie because they told her next. Lo said, you have a banging body, but you're not made for TV, sis. And that was a nice way of saying that you're ugly. Like, just take it. Just take it and leave. Imagine throwing a fit because somebody said no. Y'all can't handle real castings. It's not giving bad bitch. Thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. Like I stated, I'm going to go into depth on part 1, 2, and 3 with Grant LaShawn at the end of the auditions, considering that they give, because I have a lot more to say. I really tried to keep it short and simple, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed my commentary, give me a thumbs up. Drop down in the comments, what are your qualifications for being a baddie? Please let us know. And subscribe if you enjoyed my commentary. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.